Hello and welcome to Trish Rock TV and Energy Shift, changing energy, shifting perceptions. In this episode, we have the very inspiring and gorgeous Sally Holden joining us. Sally Holden is an intuitive life and business coach and soon-to-be author, and previously a kinesiologist who is passionate about empowering women to really follow their heart. She has personally assisted more than 1,600 people over the last 9 years to improve their health, their confidence, and wealth, and has been involved in the personal development field for over 23 years. Her greatest gift is being able to really sense what her clients are feeling, combining both transformational mindset processes and strategic action steps in order for them to truly get the results that they desire and deserve. She's excited to bring her expertise, energy, and soul to more and more women and empower them with effective strategies to master their emotions and live a life they truly love. She currently resides in regional New South Wales, Australia, with her 2 teenage daughters, living a laptop lifestyle of freedom, fun, and adventure with her soulmate, whilst fulfilling her dreams and living her soul's purpose. It is my great honour and pleasure to welcome Sally. Hello, Sally, and welcome to the show.
Hey Trish, hey everyone. It's so great to be on here, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to pop on here and hopefully share some wisdom and some tips and a little bit about my own personal journey as well. So thank you.
Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. So Sally, let's start at the beginning. What is it that got you started on your journey of self-development?
Yeah, so I was really interested in personal development, I think, for a long time. I bought my first Tony Robbins book at age 17, and it was The Unlimited Power. I don't know whether you've ever read that, Trish, but
yes.
So that was what I started with.
It was on a cassette. I used to listen to a cassette in the car. I think it was The Giant Within.
Oh, right. I had the Unlimited Power book, and it was about this big, and I don't think I ever actually finished it, but I've gone on to read many of these other books. But that really started me on my personal development journey, and I kind of dabbled in it for a long time. And I was quite spiritual, but at the time I was in a relationship as well that was very, I guess, not supportive of my spirituality, not supportive of personal development growth. And a lot of that was my own internal fears that were obviously being reflected back to me in that relationship. So kind of fast forward quite a few years, and in 2008, that 14-year relationship broke down. That was my marriage, broke down. We'd been married for 8 years. We had 2 little girls, 5 and 7. And shortly afterwards, my mum actually passed away from terminal cancer as well. And it really was honestly the toughest time that I've ever experienced in life. There was just so much that was just dropping away. I was losing friendships, just due to personal circumstances and things like that. It was as if, you know, the universe had just stripped away everything. And it was funny because I don't know if anybody does cards here, but like I kept on getting this card that was just like, be true to your authentic self. Anything that's inauthentic in your life will literally be falling away, and it felt like it was pretty much everything. So I found myself in a place where I felt very angry. I was grief stricken. I was depressed. I'd become a single mum. I was only earning $300 a week at the time, and I just had no clue on, number one, how to love myself. That was the biggest realization for me, because it was like both of those sources of external love had been stripped away, or it felt like that. And I'm like, oh my God, I have no clue how to love myself. And I remembered I had one of those, you know, line in the sand moments where I was laying in my bed on a Sunday afternoon, and I was just so grief stricken at the time. But here my 2 girls playing in the lounge room, and it still actually brings quite a bit of emotion up for me today, just to remember that moment and go, oh my God, my girls just deserve so much more from me than what currently getting. And that was really like the changing point for me. I decided then and there I had to find a way. I didn't know how, but I had to find a way of how I could finally be the mum that I truly wanted to be and the role model that I wanted to be for my girls as well. And that's really what kickstarted my journey. And I kind of investigated kinesiology a few years prior, and I got really excited about that. And finally, here was an opportunity that I could now embrace my spirituality and embrace personal development in a way that was really right for me, because I didn't kind of have any external stuff kind of going on, and I'll get into a little bit more of that later on. But yeah, it really led me down on my pathway of kinesiology, and then finally into life coaching, and just meeting so many inspiring people and mentors, and yeah, an amazing kind of life path. But it was really, that bottom of the barrel, oh my God, got to find a way out. So
absolutely, and that gave me goosebumps because sometimes we have that resistance of stripping all of that away, and so we keep it around us, and we're like, how can I change, or what's my next step? And the universe is showing us the next step. But when it does all get stripped away like that, it can be really devastating. And it at the time you probably didn't know, but now you can look back and understand why all that happened, because it was the next step for you in that. Bringing your light to the world in this way.
Totally. And I couldn't be a quarter of the person that I am today without that. And I think when we can look back on those experiences with just such deep gratitude, and I know that was such a huge perception shift. Even with my mum passing, I knew I wouldn't have got that lesson without that happening. And of course I'd have her back in a heartbeat. But I know on a deep soul level that was actually really what was meant to happen. And I think just even the realization around that brought deep peace to me as well. So yeah, I think you're so right. And I had huge resistance. I would never have had the courage, and didn't have the courage actually, in fact, to leave that relationship, because my self-worth was so low at the time. So
that's it. And that's something that both you and I work with clients with, and because to give people that bigger picture of what their life could look like and how all the pieces are fitting together gives people hope, I think, in that moment of crisis. And you have to live through it to be able to teach it. So it kind of
can't be taught in a classroom, unfortunately. It'd be nice if it could, but
it would be nice if you could.
It's in those darkest moments, I think, that we build that tenacity, we build that resilience, we build that strength, we build that self-belief, and that deeper trust in a deeper purpose for things happening as well. So yeah,
absolutely. So what is it that you're most passionate about? And there's probably there's a lot of things there, but what's your genius zone? What is it that you're most passionate about?
I absolutely love, I truly believe from my personal experience, on a deep soul level, that I'm here definitely to share some tips or some of the pathways that I took for my own personal journey, but most of all to help women come back to their own inner guidance, because that was, I guess, one of my biggest learnings as well. For so long, I'd looked out here for all of the answers and the right way of living and what I should be doing and who I should be and all of those things. And I think that's been a continual stripping back over the last, 10, 11 years now of letting go of a lot of the external, but coming back to that deep inner guidance within myself, getting out of my head, out of fear, out of lack, out of scarcity, and coming back into my heart. And I think as women, we can tend to really disown that inner power. Or give it away, or get scared of it. I've certainly been scared of mine. It's like, whoa, that's wrong, that's bad, that's too much. And I think we can be told so many different things from society in different ways as well, that you shouldn't be too outspoken, or you shouldn't there's just so many shoulds of that's too much, we shouldn't rock the boat and things. And I think that can really certainly play out in a number of ways for women, whether that's just through neglecting money, or not really truly allowing ourselves to embrace a really great, abundant financial state and feel secure within our finances. And of course, for women, security is one of those main things that we really genuinely crave. And a lot of that's our ego survival mind, but it's essential for when you feel safe, when you feel secure, then you can grow, then you can share those things with others. Whereas if you're constantly in a state of survival, you know, we can't replenish our own bucket quick enough to be able to then share and contribute in the way that we truly know that we can. So I think that that's really important. And I think in relationships as well, one of the greatest lessons that I ever learned through my own personal experiences was, you know, where I was giving away my power, and I've had to really do some really deep internal work in my own personal relationship with my gorgeous man. We've been together 4 years now. We've been through so many ups and downs simply because I was triggered from so much of that past stuff. So I think being able to share some of that with women, like I had PTSD experiences and all sorts of things, and being able to move through that and then share that gift with others, and to see women truly embracing themselves, it just lights my heart up so much. Truly passionate about that. And I think because as mums we have such a unconscious influence on our daughters as well, and of course our daughters are the future generations, so and they're going to be molding, you know, future little humans. So if we can give them tips and empower ourselves now, then, you know, our girls are learning from us as well. And I think that that's my deeper reason. It's certainly my reason why I've done everything that I have, because on a genetic level as well, when we clear those things within ourselves, it no longer goes down the line, and it also clears up the line as well. And I think that that's a great gift to give generationally. Both.
Absolutely. And I see that passion and that light every time you're doing a video or teaching something, you know, that really comes from within. It is that light that over the last 10 years you've allowed now to really shine brightly. And you know, people, well, I know I do, I really feel your passion when you're speaking. So it's such a gift that you're giving, you know, everybody who is in your awareness, but also your clients. So have you noticed too, just by the way, over the last because it's a 10-year kind of period we're just coming out of now, that the clarity of purpose, even though it's had that roller coaster, is even clearer now, but same purpose but clearer from this 10 year.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, it's just something I've noticed, like, wow, okay, I've been on this journey to find my purpose, and here I find myself 10 years later actually with the same purpose and passion but clearer on it. So
it's a constant distillation, I think, as well. And I guess, like, as we shift and change internally, then it's and we get clearer within ourselves, well, then the message gets clearer and clearer as well, which is beautiful.
That's it. So in your experience, and also in like your life experience, but also in your experience with working with all the people that you've worked with, what keeps people stuck when they really want to create change in their lives?
It's such a great question, because I think this is what so many people are looking for as well. It's like, why am I still here? Why is this still playing out? Why do I keep attracting like these same circumstances again and again? And I think there's I've got quite a long list of some of those reasons. And I think that would be helpful, because people will get like a really good understanding. So I think, you know, number one can be, and this is not necessarily in importance of order either, certainly having a great vision and getting clear on what it is that you do want, rather than focusing on what you don't want, super important. But I think one of the main things that I see why people get stuck is that they try and change too much at once. And that's super overwhelming. I see it all the time, particularly in the area of health, or, you know, wanting to overhaul their life. And I'll have clients that are super gung-ho and they want to get started. It's like, right, let's do it all. And it's not sustainable. It has to be done in a sustainable way. And I think that leads probably to the second point that I have, which is people sometimes are searching for the magic bullet fix. And this is because they want the change, because they believe that the change is actually going to have them happier, or have them feel better about themselves, or have them more confident, or have them more secure, or it's the emotional fix that people are looking for. Therefore, any way that gets me there fastest, quickest, easiest, that's the route I'm going down. And as you and I both know, you know, certainly for myself anyway, I can't
it's the other way around.
Oh my God, I've spent so much money over the years on magic bullet fixes, only to end up in the same situation again, you know, whether it's 3 months later or 6 months later or 12 months later. And it's because we're not actually taking the time to step into the beingness of who we need to become, and the daily habits that we need to be doing in order to sustain and maintain that next level of growth or that next change. And so and I think some of that also comes from the pressure cooker syndrome. And I first learned this from Tony Robbins, and I love the idea because I could relate to it so much. And so certainly in the area of dieting, and you know, I don't believe in dieting or anything like that, but I had a lot of body image challenges for a long time, and I think that was where a lot of my self-worth was really impacted, both internally but also externally as well, in how I perceived other people. Well, that would still be internally, I guess, but anyway, the pressure cooker syndrome is really about the threshold that we have. So we've all got that upper limit and we've all got that lower limit. But when we hit that lower threshold, and this will all depend upon people's own personal standards in whatever area of life that they're wanting to change. But everybody's got a threshold. So whether it's, you know, if we're talking about finances, it could be being 5,000 in debt. You know, that's the threshold for somebody, or, you know, 5,000 owing on the credit card. For somebody else, it might be 20 or 50,000 in debt, or for somebody else, it might be only having $10,000 in their account. So again, all sorts of different thresholds. But the second that we hit that threshold and go, oh my God, like, I can't believe I've let it get to this. Now we're like more committed than ever before. Or if it's our health, you know, it could be a couple of kilos overweight, or it could be 10, 20, 30, 50 kilos overweight. We all hit that limit and go, oh my God, not another day, not another second. This absolutely has to change. And we become so focused, so disciplined. We're doing all the research. We know exactly what we need to be doing. And we're doing all of that. And then as we start to feel better, then the pressure comes up. Oh, it doesn't matter. I won't worry about the gym today. Oh, it's all good. I'll just skip it. I'll grab the coffee and the muffin. It's all good. Or, oh, it'll be right. I'll go on that spending spree. Or, oh, that's a really cute dress. And we start to let go of the habits that actually got us out of that place of pain. And people can end up yo-yoing in this situation for such a long time. And what we need to be doing is every single time we lift our threshold to a new level. And a lot of that goes back to peer group influence as well, like who we're surrounding ourselves with. But then, you know, we can start to hit the upper limits as well. And so being able to navigate both the lower threshold and be able to maintain and sustain those habits long term, again, is really, really important as well, I think, for all of this. Another reason that people can be stuck is they don't have the external support. So a little bit like what I was just talking about is if they haven't got people that are supporting them, or perhaps, you know, if they've got somebody that's threatened or a little bit insecure with, because of course, you know, and we've probably all experienced that. I can certainly put my hand out. Somebody else is changing or growing at a rapid rate, and then we start comparing ourselves and feeling a bit insecure within ourselves. Well, what does that mean for me? And so if we're lacking that external support, or you've got people, don't worry about your diet, like that doesn't matter. Or
you've got the people pulling you back into the herd.
Which is, you know, that can be really, really tricky as well. So I think, and that's a huge part of, you know, why people do kind of remain stuck a little bit as well. Gay Hendricks talks about that in his book, The Big Leap. If you've ever read that,
I have. It's a brilliant, brilliant book. Yeah, absolutely.
I so resonate just with so much of that. The first time that I ever listened to that, and I think it was the fear of outshining, but also the fear of being disloyal and abandoning those that we loved. I literally dropped to my knees and cried my eyes out when I heard that in the book. It just, just resonated. And then I didn't think I kind of had the fundamentally flawed thing. And then I found that like the other week as well. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it looks like we've got the whole lot. Those fears can come out at different times, just depending on what is going on for us as well. So, the other things that can really impact or keep people stuck is like that lack of internal self-belief. And I know for me, that was really, really super true when I first started. Like, I was very low self-worth, didn't believe, you know, that I could make the steps, or, you know, the vision that I set seemed so big and so chunky, if that makes sense. Like, it was just like, oh my God, I'm never going to get there. And I think that goes back a little bit back to the first point that I made, which is, you know, making sure that you're not trying to change too much at the one time, because I think we overestimate.
Comes up, doesn't it? If you're trying to get from here to 10 steps ahead, all of a sudden your fear and your self-worth will go, oh no. And you know, you can block yourself from not even going to the first step. So it is important just to do it in little bits.
Break it down. Absolutely. And I think as we do that, as we become more comfortable and confident with those smaller steps, you know, the goals get bigger and bigger. And I certainly found that for myself years ago when I just wanted to run 2Ks. Like, I just wanted to be able to run 2 kilometers without stopping. And then after I did that, like, I was so excited about being able to do that. And I was like, right, I decided to make a comeback to netball. And I thought, right, I just need to get a little bit fitter again. And then I was like, oh, I wonder if I can do 5. And 5 was the most I'd ever kind of ran in my life as a child. And I thought, okay, well, I'll do 5. And so went out there and trained and did that. Eventually did 5, and then I did it to 10, and then eventually I did it to 22, and then went on to do 7 triathlons. Now, triathlons were never in the in the original kind of goal. So how the vision changes and grows, I think, just from showing up and doing the little things and celebrating the little things every single day.
That's a really good metaphor too, because if you had have said to yourself, right, I need to start running, I've got to do 10Ks, you would have given up in the first week.
Oh, I would have, because I never either that or you go and run as hard as you can and you can't move for 2 weeks after. So actually, I have a long-term goal at the moment. It's probably at least another 12 months away, but training for a physique comp, which absolutely scares the bejesus out of me.
Wow, exciting.
Yeah. So it's, you know, I love to set like those I guess those milestones, but then bring it back to the small sizable chunks where like you're starting to show up, because I had even just a huge fear of going to the gym. I've trained at home for a long time personally. I can motivate myself like quite easily when it comes to fitness, because I have a really high clarity vision around that. So I'm inspired by that, not having to push myself to do that. But going to the gym and training around men and like all sorts of things. There was all sorts of challenges there.
Brought up some more stuff. Yeah, there's always something, isn't there? But to recognise it is the first step, isn't it? Recognise it, and then, you know, set yourself those little tasks, and the fear eventually dissipates, because it's not real. It's just old stuff. So and so you're it's what you were saying with the gym, it's kind of high on your values list, so it's easy. You don't need to be motivated to do that. Do you also find that it's important that people understand that if they really have to motivate themselves to do something, they probably won't do it after a certain period of time? So the actual importance of that thing that they want to do, whether it's fitness, money goals, relationships, it has to be a high value in their life for them to work through the process.
Absolutely, definitely. And I think for me personally, like, I don't like anybody to feel like they have to motivate themselves. I feel like motivation is real push energy, and I have to, I need to, I should, I must, and it comes from lack and scarcity, and it comes from feeling that we're not enough already. Whereas I think when we tap back into, well, why do I really want that? Why is that really, really important to me? And we come back to the heart reason as to the meaning around that. Now we're in inspiration. Now we feel pulled and led to our dreams, because when we feel that push energy, and you've probably heard me speak about this before, but that push energy, it's like somebody with their hands in your back. And the first thing that we do is if somebody's pushing us, literally, like you push back, like create resistance, and it's the resistance which then now I've got like two parts of me fighting against each other, and we don't want to go anywhere. So it's really hard to move forward if you've got one part pulling on the left side and one part pulling on the right side.
And it's a really big self-sabotage to do that, which you know, is also, you know, you help people move forward from that too. So which leads us to, how do you help people move through this? And so we have touched on that a little bit, but have you got some specific processes, or how do you lead people through these changes?
Yeah, so I think it's like really important to identify, number one, where are they at emotionally with this particular thing? Because as we were just speaking about, like, it creates so much resistance around it, and getting clarity on the absolute vision is 100% important, because otherwise, you know, how can we show up? How can we be accountable? How can we create the specific measurables that we need to in order to achieve that? And so I love to be able to take clients through, particularly in the personal one-to-one coaching, of just doing deep dives around, where are they actually blocked emotionally? And like you mentioned at the start, one of my greatest gifts is being able to kind of feel where people are vibrating at, or what frequency that they're at in terms of their emotions in that particular area. They might have a really high vibrational state in another area of life. They feel really great, really confident about that. But a lot of the time it's from the practiced habituation of that particular emotion. And whatever we desire deeply, like you mentioned before as well, we also have a great fear around. And if we've attached our self-worth to that, then anytime it feels like we're failing, or we haven't shown up, or we've dipped slightly, you know, if that's attached to somebody's self-worth, then they're going to feel really bad about themselves. So having some processes in place. I love Abraham Hicks. I'm a huge fan of Abraham Hicks. I love their emotional guidance scale, and I use that as a very specific tool with people. I also love Byron Katie's work, and I quite often help people challenge the beliefs, the limiting beliefs that they have in their mind from that. I also have some other really great online programs. I'm really excited to be launching my Manifest Your Money course again shortly, which will be all about helping people, like, and the relationship that we have with money is so indicative of the relationship that we have to self. It's so reflective, as I'm sure, So again, and just be a really great way of getting to some of those deeper bits and pieces and the subconscious patterns that are playing out, that perhaps we haven't even been consciously aware of as well, in some of those self-sabotages, or how we're kind of not showing up for ourselves. And I also run some brilliant retreats as well. I'm really excited to be running my quantum manifestation retreat. So it's kind of next level. I went to Joe Dispenza. I've been following Joe Dispenza for lots of years now, but actually did the advanced retreat in April, and I just got so passionate after coming out of that. And it's just like, oh my goodness, it's everything that I've learned through kinesiology. It's it just resonated so strongly with everything that I've learned up to date. And just really wanting to share that at the next level. And I've got some really exciting experiences for people to actually embody what it is that they're learning.
And that will be a real mix of the practical, scientific kind of approaches and teaching, and also the spiritual, energetic side, that you are able to mix that together. And actually embodying that in a full experience, where they are actually living that next level life for themselves as well. So so I'm really excited. I still actually have a couple of spots available for that. If anybody's wanting to find out more, we can definitely share some information with them as well. So awesome. I'll put the links will be here for people to click on. So so they're all there for people. So that sounds like an amazing retreat.
I'm so excited. I was so excited putting it together. I was just like, oh my God, this is going to blow people's minds, like literally.
So absolutely.
Anyone will take things really to the next level, to understand how we manifest, and the vibrational frequency that we're on emotionally. For me, that's been absolute key. And every time that I upgrade my emotional frequency to that next level, it's incredible what it attracts into my life, without needing to push, without needing to run after it. You really, it's incredible what miracles show up as a result of that. So
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and it is that allowing that brings the most incredible things into your life. And we go back to the beginning from where we were talking about, people are kind of looking for the end result so that they will then feel good about themselves, but it's actually the other way around, as we've said. And when it is the other way around and you're already feeling abundant and joyful and happy and worthy, the things that show up are just incredible, and you can't push to make those things show up. They just don't. And it's and I know for me that when those things started showing up, when I started having some ease, when I started being more than doing, and really becoming from the inside out, those things I just felt like things were showing up every day, like little miracles. I'm like, wow, okay. The thing I understood though was that they were always there. I just didn't see them and I didn't allow them in. And when you get to that point where they're all coming in and you just kind of get it, you're like, wow, why didn't I do this 10 years ago?
So easy. I know, right?
And it's just incredible. Yeah. So I know that your work really lights you up and you're passionate about helping women. But is there anything else that lights you up as well? You to me are just a shining bright light. I just see you as such a joyful soul, and even just that energy heals and helps people who are around you and who are experiencing your teachings. But what lights Sally up?
It's such a great question. I love the way that you've asked that as well, Trish, because absolutely, helping clients and seeing them succeed. Oh my God, like there's just nothing in this world like that. And of course, the same with my girls, if they have a breakthrough, they're kind of like, one's about to turn 17. That's why I'm hesitating on her age. It's like she's 16 at the moment, nearly 17, and then my eldest is 18. And seeing them obviously thriving and super happy. But for me personally, nothing lights me up more than spending time in nature with my partner. He's like an agile mountain goat. He's crazy. He's like scrambled up rocks, and we have lots of just amazing fun times. I love paddle boarding. I bought myself an inflatable SUP that I can do on the river until I get to the beach. So I'll definitely be heading to the beach at the Sunshine Coast in probably another 12 to 18 months, which will be amazing, and a wonderful place my heart's longed to be there for a long time, and I've needed to be where I am at the moment. So things like that, absolutely. Simple things, just like colouring in the sunshine. I love tapping into my inner child and just, hearing what it is that she needs for the day in order to feel playful, joyful, connected, loved, all of those things. Out of the head, yeah. And we all struggle at times with our head. And I know for me, like if I'm physically exhausted, that just plays out like, whoa, 10 times worse. So definitely that. I love taking great care of my physical body and just feeling great within my physical body. And one of my greatest loves actually is actually playing the piano. And a couple of years ago, I had lessons up until I was about 12 years old, and I always loved the piano. I actually learnt on an organ, and I didn't like playing on the organ, but I loved the fact that I could play on a piano if I did learn on the organ, obviously. And it was one of the first things, you'll laugh at this story actually, when my former husband and I separated. It took me 10 years to get a bookcase when I was in that relationship. So that's kind of for all the personal development books. So I'm just kind of sitting there. So piano is definitely out of the question in that relationship. So the second I moved, we separated out of that, and I had my house. I found this $100 piano on the internet, and just went and got it, and it could never be tuned to concert pitch or anything else. And I was fortunate enough, I created some abundance that I could go and actually get a great piano that can now be tuned to concert pitch a few years ago, and have gone on to get lessons. And I think it's one of those things that when you do have something like that just connects you so deeply back to yourself, and you have that real soulful feeling with, that's just such a great gift to be able to fill up your own bucket every single day. And yeah, if there's anything that I can share with everyone, I think it's, you know, whatever that is for you. It could be time in nature, it could be art or creating something, but anything that connects you back to you. Yeah, I definitely recommend investing in that, because it's so worth it. And both,
and that's got a lot to do with self-worth, because when we're in a lack of self-worth, doing those things, spending 5 minutes drawing something, spending a few minutes doing this, we don't feel that our time is worth spending on ourselves. And so doing those things is really important, because we deserve our time just as much as everybody else does, or probably even more.
Definitely. Yeah. And if we don't set those boundaries or those standards for ourselves as well, it's and I can still have days, I know, where I've not actually, it's actually a really good I guess indicator to me. I like to use kind of like green flags and red flags. Like, what are my red flags? My red flags are I haven't played the piano for like 3 or 4 days. Oh, what's going on there? Because I think as women too, like, we can be indoctrinated into my worth is based on how much I get done in a day or how much I do for others. And so so focused on that. And then if we've attached our worth to that, then we won't allow ourselves to do those other nicer things for ourselves. So so for me, it's a good little flag that lets me know, what's going on, where are you at?
Absolutely. Oh, that's fabulous. And you know what, that's, you know, if nothing else, if people hear that, I just feel that really is gold there, because you know, are you looking after yourself today in some way? It really is a question we need to ask every day, especially as women, because we have been trained to be giving to others before ourselves. But setting those boundaries and putting ourselves first doesn't make us selfish. It actually makes us a better person to be able to, a fuller vessel to then give from a more loving place. And we also teach other people how to treat us then. And, you know, this year, I've said it a few times now, this year the energy is about really our own authenticity and saying no when we mean no, and saying yes when we mean yes. And it's so difficult for some people, but I feel with so many of us out there shining our light now, that the message is creeping into all of the places where it needs to go.
Yeah, I know. I was a people pleaser for years. That was like, I was just a shell of myself. Like, I was just so sad and so empty internally. And every time I gave, I was giving from a bucket that was tainted with anger, with resentment, with just depletion, obligation, like all of those things. And it's so different. It's so energizing rather than draining, to be able to give from a full bucket. And I think it's, there's one thing that for women to embrace as a collective, I think, is being able to give from that empty bucket, the full bucket.
Give to themselves first. So I've got the website links here for everyone who's watching or listening to head over to Sally's website. I have to say, it's the most beautiful website I've seen for quite some time.
It's going to get redigged, so you're going to love the new one.
Oh, beautiful. So I've got the links there. Now, Sally, with your the course that you're about to start, is that on the website, or is there somewhere another link, or will that be on the website for people to have a look at?
Yeah, I'll be putting it up on the website shortly. I am running a webinar which people will be able to access the replay, because it'll the webinar will actually be on the 15th, but they'll be able to access the replay afterwards as well, because that's
I'll put the link. Yep. So we'll have the links here for anybody who wants to register for that. Yes.
Yeah. So that'll be fabulous. And yes, and then the Manifest Your Money, that will be, and so they can check out even on the events page on Facebook under Abundant Heart Coaching as well. So
oh, beautiful. So all those links are there. So please connect with Sally. She's got some amazing things that she offers and things that are coming up, including the retreat. So you really need to like her pages and and connect with her so that you can find out more about the retreat that's coming up and all the other courses and ways that she serves. And yeah, thank you so much for coming onto the show, Sally. It's just been amazing. And you know, just talking about the different processes or the different things people need to do to move forward, I think is good, because you know, as you say, when we're at that beginning of the journey and we're wanting change, it's not always easy to know the next step, and we sometimes do get too far ahead and it scares us and we stay stuck. But there is a way forward, and you've really explained it beautifully. And you know, I hope people reach out and connect with you, because you're such a bright shining light in the world.
thank you so much, Trish, and I truly appreciate you having me on here, and love everything that you're doing as well, and you know, really giving people access to so many people that can help and do all of that as well. So and with what you're doing, so much gratitude, and thank you to everyone that's listened as well. It's well done on showing up for you, and for taking whatever resonates. I often say before I communicate anything, don't believe a word I say. Take it in, you know, if it resonates and it fits and it feels great. Anything else, just that inner guidance.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. All right, fabulous. Well, thank you everybody for listening and watching, and please connect with Sally. All the links are there, and thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you next time for another episode of Trish Rock TV. Bye for now.